So you've got started with your magical practice, you're all immersed in it, but maybe something's feeling a bit off and not quite right. So in this video, I wanted to go through some signs that you might be engaging in unhealthy levels of magical practice. I think this is something we've all got to be aware of. I think it's really easy to sort of dive in and get immersed and maybe forget about some fundamentals that may not seem important, or they may seem to sort of go to the back burner because we'd rather just get on with our magic. But I think it's really important to bear these things in mind. So the first one is neglecting your physical and mental health. There's things like not getting enough sleep, not eating nourishing foods, not exercising or moving for enjoyment. And I know maybe those things sound, well, they're mundane and they're nothing to do with magic, but remember that your body, your physical vehicle that carries you through this world, is part of the magical practice. You use that to draw in, draw down energy, to direct your energy. Your body is a huge part of the magical practice. It's important that you look after it. And practicing magic and also doing things like devotional rituals, they can be tiring. They take energy. You have to make time for them and we have to be consistent. So it's really important that we learn to look after ourselves, because ultimately, in my opinion, that will help us engage with a magical practice that lasts us a long time. The next signs of potentially an unhealthy magical practice is overconsumption of magical items to the point where you're getting yourself in trouble financially. Now, I know there's a lot of beautiful items on the market when it comes to magical practices. I do love the magical aesthetic. I do identify myself as a minimalist, so I do try to be really mindful of my spending and not buy things that I really don't need, but I'm not going to say I'm perfect at that. But have a think about whether you're spending too much on items that you don't really need. It might be tools for your magic, it might be just things that look nice that you put on your altar, maybe courses. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with buying courses, but is it a course you need, or are you impulsively signing up for these courses because you hope they will benefit you, but actually they're not really what you need right now? Maybe you need to spend more time reading or just experimenting and not diving into expensive educational programs straight away. I think social media can play a part in this. There are lots of videos online that show us different books and different items that we can buy to help with our magical practice. And again, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but I think if you're concerned about your spending, just maybe step back from those things a bit and see whether you really need them or whether you're getting pulled into the hype of owning them. The next aspect of an unhealthy magical practice could be ignoring your intuition and the setting of boundaries. And what I mean by this is just maybe ignoring your gut feeling or your intuition around magical practices that don't really gel with you. They don't really get you excited, or actually you don't agree with them. Sometimes we might think that we have to do things because other people are doing them, or because maybe someone prominent on social media has said we should. But there's this feeling inside where we feel that doesn't really gel with me. I don't feel that's right or that's appropriate, or it just doesn't fit with me and who I am as a magician or a witch, or however you choose to identify in that magical sense. And also in terms of setting boundaries, maybe feeling pressured by other people in the magical space to do things or to not do certain things. I think sometimes it's good to think about what your boundaries are in advance, so that if you do get into a situation where somebody is kind of asking for you to step outside your boundaries or to kind of push your boundaries a bit, you know where those boundaries lie and you can feel confident to say no. The fourth sign of an unhealthy magical practice might be when you're starting to detach from a sense of reality, or if you use magic to escape from your reality, then I would think about what's going on there. And if you feel that you're using magic to avoid what's going on in your reality. So if you're struggling in any way with relationships, or maybe you're unhappy in your job, or something's not feeling right in your material reality, and you're using magic as a way to escape from it, to not engage with it, when actually what you need to do is address the problem, not withdraw from it. So just be mindful that you're not using magic for that purpose, because in the short term, maybe that might help to disengage from it a bit, but over the long term, that's not going to solve the problem. Maybe if you find yourself isolating yourself, withdrawing from your normal friendship groups or your relationship or your family, And magic can be isolating because you may not want to talk to your friends or family about it. I have not told anyone I practice magic. It is hard for people to understand who are not into that, who don't take an interest in it, who don't believe in it. So magic can feel isolating, and maybe there can be a temptation to withdraw from those people who you haven't told because you know they won't get it. I don't think that's healthy. I think we still need to engage in the mundane world and with the relationships that we have in that world, but we don't need to tell people about it. And sometimes I think keeping that magic secret and within ourselves, I don't know why I believe this, but I just do, it kind of builds the power of it. It feels more precious, and the minute I share it, it feels as though that energy and that power might be dissipated, and I don't want to do that. So just be mindful that your magical practice and magical life, or the magical part of your life, isn't taking you away from the mundane as well, because the mundane is where we are. It may not always be where we want to be, but it is where we are. Next unhealthy aspect of magical practice is a dependence on magic or divination in order to engage with the mundane. So if, for example, I was doing tarot readings every time I needed to make a decision about something, so I couldn't make any life decisions without consulting the cards, I would see that as a problem. And this isn't just to do with magic, this can be anything. I don't think it's healthy to rely on any particular thing for making our decisions. We need to develop our own decision-making capacities, whether, and that can include listening to our intuition, but also going through logically step by step why we're making the decision we're making. I think there's something about taking responsibility for our lives and not sort of devolving it all to divination or magic. Magic should enhance our lives, it should enrich our lives, it shouldn't take away from our mundane lives as much as we might weary of the mundane life at times. So if you find that you're kind of going too far in an unhealthy direction, have a think about how you can bring it back into balance. I hope this video has been helpful, and I will see you again soon.